So if you're a service business owner or a coach who has grown their business through word of mouth referrals, then you've probably come to realize the limitations of word of mouth referrals to actually grow your business. There's not a lot of predictability. You're not able to really consistently know how many clients that you're going to be working with. And when you actually want to level up and try to scale up your business, word of mouth doesn't necessarily cut it. So then one of the next options that you start to consider is running ads for your business. And running ads is just one of those things where there's not a lot of good information out there, or it's not that there's not good information out there. It's more like there's a lot of conflicting information out there. There will be people that say this way works or this way works, this template works, you have to do it like this, you have to do these settings. Like pretty much if you were to binge watch a variety of different content that teaches you about running ads, all of the information that you hear from everyone is going to conflict each other. So in this video today, I'm going to actually share with you guys one of the marketing tactics that I learned and applied to my business that ended up generating me $30,000 worth of business. And I'm going to share with you whether I think it's worth it or not for you to do it, because the answer might surprise you. So whenever you see ads for like coaches or marketing companies, they're always going to be marketing the angle of if you can get this many new clients in 30 days or this many new clients in 90 days and this much revenue in this amount of time. And at the time, this was like, I want to say I want to say like 3 years ago, where I came across one of these ads for my video agency. And to give you a little bit of background, this was before I started learning about ads and marketing. And in my business, I was a video production company exclusively. So what that entails is I create video content for my clients, and that's it. I'll produce the video and shoot the video and edit the video and deliver it to them. And at the time, I was kind of struggling. I wasn't getting a lot of new clients or not a lot of new leads. Business had really slowed down for me at this point. And as I started to recognize that slowdown, I needed to start learning other ways of bringing in new clients, because I was just going off of word of mouth referrals. Word of mouth referrals was very effective for me, and I was able to get by and make a lot of money just off of that for the first like 7 years of running my business. But then as I wanted to grow and get better clients, I was finding that the word of mouth just wasn't really cutting it, because the people that I was getting referred to were not exactly the type of clients that I wanted to work with in this growth stage. So I was feeling very stuck. That's one of the reasons why one of these ads of learning how to do ads and all this marketing stuff was very appealing to me. So long story short, I ended up joining one of those programs, and then that was basically the start of my whole like marketing and advertising kind of journey. And in that program, what we were taught is it was a program where they teach someone how to run ads who's a complete beginner. So one of the tactics that they were personally teaching was called the beta offer, which is something that I've kind of learned now is kind of a common thing for like lower budget businesses or maybe even beginners to try out to learn. And from my experience of doing the beta offer, for those of you who don't know what beta offer is, that's basically when you start off your headline or your video saying something like, attention, attention business owners, I'm putting together this system. I'm putting together this system that will help you get this kind of result. And then I'm looking for 5 people to beta test my offer at a 50% discount. For those of you who have been trying to like maybe find marketing agencies or coaches to work with, or maybe you've come across videos that talk about that may sound familiar to you. So essentially what I was doing, I applied that to my own business, and then I was like, attention business owners, I'm putting together this system that teaches you, I'm putting together this system that's going to generate you new clients in this many days, and I'm looking for 5 people to beta test it. And then I started running ads off of that. And then I was told that I can get maybe 30 new leads within like, or I was told that I can get 5 new clients within like 30 days. I wasn't exactly certain like that was like an actual thing. I was thinking that that was just some sort of like marketing gimmick that they were using. So I didn't really think too much of it. I was just more focused on how do I actually learn how to do the ads. And then as I went through that process of running the ads with that messaging, I actually ended up making $30,000, not in profit, but like in new clients that came in. Like the amount of projects and value of all the projects and clients that I closed was around $30,000, but it came at a cost. So the very first month, this was like the very first month, January of like 2023, I started running the ads. For the first month of it, I got leads, but I was getting a lot of people that were basically, they didn't really know why I had their phone number. They didn't know why I was calling them. A lot of them have forgotten what they even applied to. Essentially, like it was made a little bit too easy. And then that was kind of one of the things that the coach was initially saying was, oh, set it up in this way where you're getting volume of leads. When you set up your ads to get a volume of leads, what ends up really happening is you're just getting a whole bunch of people that are very unqualified, or basically like Meta, Facebook, whatever, like it basically makes it very easy for them to either accidentally give you the information, or they just autofill information so that there's less friction on the lead's end to actually put in the information. So that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of people that if you do end up calling them, they're just like, who is this? Like, I don't understand why you're actually calling me. And then for some reason, it's a lot of old people who accidentally give you their info. So that was kind of like my first experience in the first month. And then as time went on, there was maybe about I would say maybe about 2.5 months or so where I was running the ads. I wasn't getting that much. I was getting a lot of leads, but a lot of them were just very unqualified. And then one of the things that I ended up doing that was a little bit different, I kind of strayed away from the instructions that I was given, and I just started creating different types of ads and just kind of experimenting with, what if I did this or did this? And then that's basically when things started to change. That's when I actually started to get calls and get applications where it was actually a serious person. And I was actually very surprised when I got onto the call and I asked them like, hey, this is Scott from Takai Media. I got your info. They're like, oh yeah, I remember you. Like I applied to do that. And I was extremely shocked. That's basically when I started to realize like, oh, I strayed away from the messaging just by a little bit, not dramatically too much. And then, so some experimentation with the actual content that I was creating is what actually ended up finding higher quality leads, but not extremely high quality, but higher quality than I was originally getting. So at that point, I started to get more serious people and I was starting to get on a lot more calls. But then one of the things that I started to realize with running this type of like beta offer is I was attracting a lot of people that didn't really have a lot of money. Like they were serious about wanting to do it, but it was hard to find people that actually had the budget to do what I wanted to do. Because I was charging like around $5,000 at least, because I wanted to make my money back from the actual ads that I was doing. And I was finding that $5,000 was the sweet spot of making the money back and also making enough money for my time. With this type of offer, then again, the main thing is this beta offer, it says 50% off. So anyone who's familiar with content creation, they're gonna know that creating content is very expensive. So if they hear 50% off, then what I've learned is that it was attracting a lot of the discount-minded people, a lot of the people that don't have a lot of money to actually invest in really quality production. Obviously, that wasn't fully the case because I ended up landing I think it was like around 5 or 6 clients. Not all of the projects were literally 5K. Some ended up being 10, some of it was 8. And I eventually ended up landing like 5 clients off of this. But 5 clients out of like 100 people that I talk to is pretty exhausting. So the whole point of why I'm sharing this is because while that beta offer, like phrasing and that positioning it for the discount was pretty effective in bringing in like a huge volume of leads, it was very ineffective at bringing in quality leads. And because that type of messaging was bringing in a volume of leads, I spent a lot of time just being stuck on sales calls. I was spending there was a point where I ended up spending about 8 hours, 7 hours a day just on calls, and it was super exhausting because I would call people and then I would just talk through with them, and then just to find out that they didn't have the budget. And then if I did end up getting to the point where I gave them the quote, like they would just ghost me at that point. So it was a lot of time, it was a lot of it. And then if you're trying to grow your business and you're trying to grow your business faster, just spending time like just being on sales calls all the time and having to like just constantly pitch yourself over and over and over again and just talking to a group of people that don't even necessarily want to invest into a higher quality service. They're looking more for a discount. It's very exhausting. So eventually I got to that point, like I said, of having those 5 clients, but the cost that I didn't know about until later on as I got deeper into it is that yes, this can work in eventually finding clients that are willing to pay your prices, because not out of that 100 people out of that 100 people, however many I talked to, there's really like 5 people that ended up actually going through with it, which is a very small percentage. So the close rate was actually kind of low. So with that type of messaging, it was effective in getting leads into my pipeline and just being on calls on a regular basis, and then eventually closing the $30,000 worth of work. But as I've grown more as a marketer, as I've learned more about how Meta and ads work, one of the reasons why that is along with the fact that you're just marketing a discount and it's going to attract a lot of low quality people. In Meta's mind, the way ads work is when you set up campaigns and you tell it, I want, like for example, a leads campaign is what I was setting up. I set up the leads campaign and I was essentially just telling it, I want people to book a call in my calendar. Like that's the goal that it's ultimately gonna optimize around. So anytime someone books a call in the calendar, it's gonna consider that as, okay, this person is what Scott wants. Like someone who books the calendar, and then as its algorithm grows more experience with what you want, it's gonna get smarter at finding the people that book calls in your calendar. But if your messaging is focused around attracting discount people, which is the beta offer, the 50% off thing, it's basically you're basically indirectly telling Meta, I want to have these cheap leads. I want to have these cheap-minded leads. It's not going to consider like, oh, Scott wants to find leads that are higher quality and have more budget. Like, no, they're going to find people that book a call, and then because your messaging is around the cheap discounted stuff, then it's going to attract that type of person to book a call. And then the more people that do that, it just tells Meta, okay, find more people like this. And then it basically just you basically start training Meta to be like, keep finding all these people that want discounts. And in the long run, that actually hurts you and your business, because you're spending all of your time and energy on sales calls, talking to people that are not qualified. And then eventually you're just going to burn out. So that's a very long-winded way of just saying, like, this type of messaging is, while it was effective for me, it was also extremely effective in burning me out and just making me lose my mind and just feeling drained every day. I've kind of noticed that there's this whole trend going around with follow me ads. So a lot of people will say, oh, just run these Instagram and Facebook ads where you just tell people to follow you, and then as they follow you, send them a DM, and then just try to do sales like in the DMs. And I'm not saying that doesn't work, but it's kind of the same mentality. It's kind of the same approach in a sense, but with different packaging. So what I mean by that is, so when you're setting up the ads to focus on getting people to just follow you, or message you, it's going to consider that, Meta is going to consider that that's what you want. You want people that are going to message you. You want people that are going to follow you. That's a very like low friction type of conversion that you're telling Meta to optimize its algorithms for. And whenever you're trying to get people into your ecosystem and it's lower friction usually means the people are going to be a lot lower quality. So what you end up doing is you're telling Meta, this is what I want. So it's just going to keep giving you more of that. It's going to give you a bunch of low quality people coming into your ecosystem. And then the only difference now at this point is that you're just messaging them pretty much, but you're messaging a lot of low quality leads. And then just to eventually find the few, like 5% or whatever of people that are actually good. But then by the time you find those people, you're pretty exhausted. So if you're trying to grow your business and you're considering doing ads as a way of growing your business, ads, in my opinion, is a very effective way to do it, but you have to be very careful with the approach that you personally follow with doing the ads, because some of the ways that are pitched to you, while it can be effective, it's effective enough to where you can actually get results from it. You have to be careful because you might end up burning yourself out in the process, because you are getting all of these low quality people coming into your ecosystem. So it almost kind of becomes a balance of, is that something that I want and I'm willing to do, or would I rather follow a process where I can do the same thing but get higher quality leads? So that's essentially what I offer in my business now. I'm a hybrid content and marketing agency that focuses on helping you with creating content that generates higher quality leads so that you can spend more time closing deals as opposed to objection handling. So if you got value from this video, I'm sorry that this is a very unstructured video and I was just kind of winging it because I just kind of wanted to just share it and see what happens, but hopefully it ends up making sense and you guys got value from this. And if you want to check out a video where I actually ended up helping one of my ad clients get enough money to where he's now actually trying to find a bigger office space so that he could fulfill more clients, you can click on this video right here to check it out.